painting murals, no two job site is going to be the same. You could go from a city street to someone's business to 50 feet in the air on a lift to someone's home. And if painting murals is something that you want to get into, something that you're interested in, you're going to have to learn an adaptability and learn the art of building an art studio from scratch in a new environment every time. This requires preparation. It requires a mindset that embraces change. And in this video, I'll talk about some things that I do to essentially create a portable art studio to give myself the best environment to work in.
This life they call me the night, you help me heal and reopen wild, drifting away from everything.
The process of painting murals is an art form unlike many others. It can be very performative. There are actually events where people will have you set up and paint a wall at an event that is going to have a lot of people. There are mural festivals that are used as attractions, again, to draw crowds, and it's a performance in a way. And other times you're very secluded, very isolated in a dark space by yourself. So again, it's very adaptable, but the act of making murals and the mural itself is an art form that brings the work to the people. All right, so wasn't able to get far back enough to project this, so I did a little doodle. And then I'm just throwing my image on top here. It's just normal doodle grid stuff. As someone who didn't grow up interested in or looking at any artwork, I was never going to step foot in an art gallery. And so it's an important thing for me to bring the work to the streets. There's a barrier of entry that comes with fine art and art galleries. Everyone's not going to step foot in one, and I was definitely one of those people. So painting murals, again, is something that brings hopefully a high level of work to someone's community, to someone's business, and that's what draws me, and I think that's what is important, special about painting walls. That's another topic for another video. The thing to pull out of that rant is just the fact that murals are in unique spaces. There's something to be said about building a studio, building a space that is comfortable, somewhere that you can go to do some experimental stuff that no one's gonna see, and the process is hidden. But when you're painting walls, you don't have that opportunity. If you're in a downtown, if you're in that metro area, people are seeing every stroke you're making, and so some of that even plays into your mind about the process. Like, there's an ugly phase about a lot of artwork, and sometimes or at least me, sometimes I will want to complete something, so then overnight or throughout the next day, it looks better than it would if I was doing things a different way. So essentially, in certain aspects, I will change my process to make the process look better. Again, because the process is being seen by everyone, potentially. But in this video, I'm just talking more so about the space itself. Adaptability is at the foundation, I think, of being a good mural painter. No two spaces are alike, and it's not about making art in the space solely, but about making the space work for you. You learn how to think on your feet, whether that has to do with like an uneven surface or ventilation or just so many different variables that can come into play when you're trying to make some work in someone's house, especially using spray paint. But all these things shape your approach. And again, trying to find some level of comfortability is important with creating your best work. If you're uncomfortable, if you are not in a good headspace, then you're not going to perform well, and your mindset is going to be a huge factor in that process. So for me, my process is very regimented, or very structured, usually working with a confined palette or a colors that I've thought about beforehand, and I try to do a lot of my work beforehand, knowing about the space, if it's going to have lighting, if I need to be there at a certain time. For this specific project, I was given the keys and I was there overnight, so working when they were not there until pretty much the sun came up, trying to get home before the sun comes up so it doesn't mess with my sleep. But for this project, I was trying to get in and out in a day. I was there, I met the owner of the business on a Friday, spent that night prepping the space, taping, projecting, and getting started, and the goal was to get it painted fully by the next day, and I was able to do that. I think that's why I was driven to talk about this specific topic in this video, because you want to do all these things to give yourself the best chance of success. There have been so many times in the past where I didn't mask off a space good, or I didn't do everything I needed to do beforehand, and in the process of painting it slowed me down and I'll just put so many roadblocks in my way to actually just painting. There's nothing worse than having to stop to clean up a mess, or making such a mess that you need to spend X amount of hours on the back end to get something cleaned up to leave the space better than you found it. And so I've had to learn over time just to spend that extra hour or two, or however long something's going to take, when in reality it's only going to be a few minutes, to tape that extra part or put plastic over something, just to again make yourself comfortable. If you are afraid of making a mess, if you're afraid of making a mistake, then you can't operate from a place of strength, if that makes sense. So just overly cautious in the prep stage, in the masking stage, and if there's a question about if you want to cover it, then cover it. Just doesn't hurt. It's only going to take you a few extra minutes, and gives you that ability to just work with reckless abandon in a way, and I think that allows you to make your best work. Going back to the timeline on this painting, on this project, there also factors in the aspect of making a living. Because this is something that I do for a living, I want to do the work as quickly as possible so I can move on to the next painting or the next wall. And also with businesses, you don't want to inconvenience them to that extent to where they have to close their business for X amount of days. You want to get in and out as quickly as possible, and it just gives you more work and improves their experience working with you. So all these things factor into being a muralist, if that's something, again, that you're interested in. This is a very practical video, just talking about the ins and outs and the actual tangible things that come with painting walls. I grew up playing sports, playing basketball, and there's a concept within basketball called doing your work early. It's a phrase that has to do with a lot of things, whether that's defense, like getting through a pick and roll, shooting, like getting your feet set. It's about doing things beforehand to set yourself up for success. And it directly applies to this process. I make myself a list about things that I need, and sometimes I forget something and have to ask someone to try and snag something for me to bring it. But make myself a list: scaffolding, cans, respirator, plastic, tape, all those things, and just make sure that I have everything that I need. Getting all my reference material done, getting things, reference images printed out if I need them. Everything that you think might go wrong, plan for it. Have a contingency plan in place, because again, you just want to give yourself the best opportunity for success. Every mural is unique. So just walk into every project with adaptability, with an open mindset, with a gritty mindset. When things don't go your way, when you do make a mistake, when you spill something, when you're not on a right timeline and you need to spend an extra few days, there have been so many times where I just questioned my existence and wanted to stop, but just pushing through that, having a resiliency. It's physically demanding, physically taxing, so trying to take care of your body as much as possible. All these things factor in, but in this specific video, I hope I just gave you some tips and some insight on some things to do just in terms of trying to be comfortable and just set up a studio space in a new environment. Hopefully this video was informative and beneficial in some way. Please leave me some feedback. I'm always trying to learn and grow and improve in every way possible. So yeah, I would love some thoughts. If you have anything else that you would like me to speak about, again, drop a comment down below. Like the video, share it with someone that you think might enjoy it or might learn from it. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next one. Grace and peace. Later.